Around 2005 there was an article put up on Daka about using Gesso, Liquitex Gesso to be exact, as a primer. And usually I use Vallejo Surface Primer, and I'm really happy with what this does. But I thought I want to try white primer, so let's try to give Gesso a try. And Liquitex do a bunch of stuff together in the box, so it was easy enough to get one of these and some other stuff to experiment with. So I picked up the Gesso, and the first part of the article says water it down and thin it and see how that goes. And the person said that you should get a smooth coat in like 2 layers. Well, that's what I did with this wood elf here. And as you can see, that wasn't true. So the first layer I put down was very gritty. You can feel the texture of the I think it's chalk dust that's inside it, and it wasn't colouring very well at all unless you just have a plain grey plastic. So thinning it down didn't really work. But to give you an example of the texture, this is just a black ink over the top, and as it should be picking up, you can see on the bow especially, there are areas where it's very thick and very thin, and it's just not gone on well at all. There's too much texture there for it to be useful. I could have just used plain white paint unthinned and got a very similar result. So then I tried it as this follow-up suggested, where you just slap it on everything, then it will shrink down and tighten up, and you'll get a nice flat coat. And as you can see, that's also not true. This basically looks like I've put house paint on the model as a primer, and that's not the look I'm going for. So you can see here on the shield I put a black wash over and then dry brushed with a slightly off white. You can see around here that texture is not supposed to be there. It's made sort of a wave texture. It's kind of giving it a really gritty, grotty texture, and this should all be completely smooth with a few studs in it. And over here you can see on the axe, you can see a huge amount of texture going on there from the grey, and on here as well you can see these should just be single studs. You can see they've become lines instead. And if I was going to do a stone texture on, say, an axe, I wanted a plain plastic axe to be done in stone, sort of a savage group, then I'd totally cover that over there, no problem, be happy with it. They give me a good result if I wanted, but as a primer I don't think it's working. See here on the face, mostly the face came out okay, but you can still see the lips are slightly more pronounced and should be the eyebrows slightly more pronounced. And on the shoulder you can see it's especially bad with the blue wash. This was Army Painter's blue tone, and you can see the texture right there. It should just sit underneath the rim, and instead it is here, there and everywhere. It's got a completely uneven coat, because somehow it's sticking too hard, although it's not sticking enough, and it's just a mess. So as a primer, would I recommend Gesso? Absolutely not in a million years. There are better primers out there, and for what Gesso seems to do, I want to say Vallejo surface primers will do the same thing. These you can apply a little thicker than you probably should, and they will generally dry down and firm up and create a very thin coat which doesn't obscure the details. Gesso on the other hand did not work at all like that. It stayed bulky and too thick the entire way. So I would not recommend Gesso as a primer, no matter what old articles say on Daka. Thanks for watching.